Hello everyone, and welcome back to Imaginable, where we explore all kinds of interesting topics and engage in inspiring discussions. Today I want to take you through a day in the life of a Golden Age pirate. Throughout the video you will discover the true life of a pirate is much different than you probably imagined. Make sure to stick around to the end to learn the cruel life of a pirate, one of which many of us would be unable to withstand. Before we dive in though, don't forget to smash the like button below, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, as it really helps our growth. Enough with the talk though, let's dive into the ruthless life of a pirate. Imagine waking up at the crack of dawn, to the sound of your captain's call, after a miserable night tossing and turning. Your shirt is soaked in sweat, due to the hot and humid weather of the Caribbean Sea. The time has come to embark on a new day. After picking some lice out of your hair, and questioning your life choices, you swing out of your hammock and onto the lower deck of the ship. Your nose is immediately violated by the horrid smell of BO, rotten food, and of course vermin remains. But this does not faze you. After all, you're a pirate, and are seasoned to enduring the worst aspects of existence. You then walk over to your vanity, which consists of a small bucket of water, if you're lucky. You wash your face, and take a swig of rum as a nice start to your day. If you happen to need to use the restroom, you head to the front of the ship where it is located. It's at the front because the wind usually comes from the back, making this the only option. Instead of a toilet or urinal, you're faced with a daunting task. A rope hung over the edge of the bow. You must hold on tight as you swing your legs over the edge, making quick work of your bowels. Now that you've got that out of the way, it's time to eat. Pirates typically had communal meals on board the ship. These meals were fairly simple, mostly consisting of salted meat, biscuits, dried fruit, and on luxurious occasions, fresh seafood. You wash down your feast with some more rum, and now it's time to get to work. A typical day on the ship would look different depending on your assigned duties. Maintaining the ship, however, would be an imperative task that most members of the crew would take part of. Daily chores would normally include cleaning the decks, repairing sails and rigging, and carpentry services on damaged or rotting ship parts. These were strict measures that the captain made sure were taken care of to ensure sufficient functionality of the ship. Some pirates were assigned specific duties catering to their specialties. They often had cooks on board to provide adequate meals for all pirates on board. Cook duties included gathering ingredients, prepping, and finally preparing the feast in the ship's galley. Navigation was also a key part of being a pirate. Only exceptional crew members would be assigned with this task, armed with tools like maps, compasses, and astrolabes to determine the ship's position and to plot the course. Pirates assigned to this role would work closely with the captain and helmsman to steer the ship in the desired direction. If you were actually one of these pirates, what role do you think you would play on the ship? Leave a comment down below and let us know. On larger ships, shifts would typically be assigned to ensure proper rest for all on board and make sure the ship was always protected. Shifts included day or night watch, and sometimes time blocks of 4 hours would be implemented. But these mundane tasks were not why you became a pirate. In the Golden Ages, chances are your goal, among others, was to take hold of merchant ships and acquire its valuable goods. These goods typically included precious metals such as gold and silver, spices, silks, and other clothing garments, and also tobacco, which in these days were seemingly worth dying for. Whilst cleaning the deck, you get news that a merchant ship is heading your way, and your captain informs you amongst the rest of the crew on board that it's time for battle. With your pistol already loaded, and your sword sharper than ever, you are prepared to say the least. The Jolly Roger or pirate flag is raised, and navigators set course for the nearing vessel. As soon as your ship is side by side with the merchant, your cannons begin to fire. Cannons would be used to disable and immobilize their targets, often aiming for the enemy ship's mast, rigging, or hull, as these are essential for proper ship function. Assuming your cannons had worked properly, and your aim was sufficient, the enemy ship would be disabled. This gives you and your fellow crewmates an opportunity to swiftly board the enemy vessel. In some cases, pirates would deploy smaller ships to row beside the enemy ship. Once close enough, they would swing grapples over the edge of the rails and climb up and over to the top deck. That's exactly what you do. Once on board, it was your duty to engage in close combat with your enemies. Utilizing your weapons we mentioned earlier, and your gang of fierce comrades, this was usually not a hard task, depending on the ship you attacked. You're lucky, and made it through combat with only minor injuries. There's a chance some of your fellow pirates may have been killed, which is sadly nothing uncommon in the day in the life of a pirate. The few enemies that are left decide to surrender, as you rummage and loot the goods on board their ship. Once the ship is empty of all valuables, it would be abandoned and you head back to celebrate. In some cases your captain would decide to execute said prisoners that have surrendered during your raids. But the smarter, more level-headed captains knew better. Captees would be held for ransom, in exchange for money or goods from their friends or families. In other cases, the crew would accept them as new members of their pirate entourage, in order to bolster their numbers and acquire new manpower for those they lost during battle. Sometimes instead of head-on battle, pirates would take a sneakier route. They would lay low in select locations known for high maritime traffic, such as trade routes, narrow passages or areas near ports and harbors. Camouflage was a frequency that was typically practiced by pirates as well. Lowering and altering their sails would make it look as if the pirate ship was friendly, easing the mind of passing by vessels. To go along with that, oftentimes crew members would remain out of sight, below deck. This would give the appearance the ship was abandoned, making it less likely for enemies to expect an immediate attack. Observing movements of ships and attacking during times of low activity ensured a successful raid. This included late into the evening or the very early hours of the mornings. The timing of the attacks played a critical role regarding the success of the raid. If you were a pirate, how would you strategize your attacks? What methods do you think you would use to remain stealthy? Let us know in the comments below. After a successful day and raid of an enemy ship, you and your gang are feeling quite accomplished. You have gained considerable amounts of loot for your captain, and of course for yourself as well. In return, it's time to relax and partake in pirate activities. You grab a nice portion of rum and begin to play dice with your comrades. Soothing sounds of music enter your ears as your friends sing songs and play music, a tradition in pirate culture. As the sun sets, stories of adventure are told by seasoned members of the crew. But you must not relax too much, for the life of a pirate is filled with much stress and angst, and you must be on guard at all times. The life of a Golden Age pirate was a harsh and uncertain existence, filled with grueling tasks, battles, and the pursuit of valuable treasures. Despite the romanticized notions, the reality was far from glamorous. Pirates endured the sweltering heat, putrid smells, and unhygienic conditions of life at sea. They faced constant danger and the loss of comrades in brutal battles. Yet, they found solace in camaraderie, storytelling, and the occasional moments of celebration. The pirate's life was a balancing act between hardship and fleeting moments of triumph. So, next time you envision a pirate's life, remember the cruel yet mundane details that shaped their everyday existence. We appreciate you making it to the end, and as always, if you have suggestions for future videos, let us know in the comments below. See you next time.